Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. If you have ever owned a guitar that had so much figure in the maple top it looked fake, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. Okay, today I'm going to do something that's pretty basic, but I thought you guys might want to see how we do it. I am going to make a book match top. So I have here a piece of maple. This doesn't have a lot of figure in it, but it has a little bit, and when we open it up and book match it, I think it's going to be really cool. You know, I'm kind of down on the whole crazy flame and quilt stuff. It's just not my style. I like the plain maple because I like the way maple looks. And I also think that you can get a little bit too much figure and it starts to look phony even if it's real. So I like to have a little bit of figure is cool by me. In fact, it's really cool, but I don't need the really crazy stuff for me and my guitars unless somebody wants that unless I'm building a custom thing. Anyway, so I'm going to take you from this to this. This is one I did the other day, and I just pulled it out of the clamps today, and it looks pretty good. So I'm in front of my bandsaw. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to slice this down its center, and we are going to open it as if it were a book, hence the name book match. Now, because this is a big cut, y'all. This is like 7 inches or so of maple that my bandsaw is going to have to cut. So I have gone ahead and I have sized this so I'm cutting the least amount of board possible. In other words, well, I don't need it to be, an extra couple inches on this end. I don't need it to be an extra couple inches tall. So I sized the piece so that my saw is cutting the least amount of timber that it has to cut. This is soft maple. It's not hard maple, but it's still, we're going to go slow because I'm not going to change the blade on my bandsaw. It's a standard 3/8. I don't know what kind of, it looks like a skip tooth. And we're going to plow right through this, and let's check that out now. Okay, so we're going to go slow, and we're just going to push this guy through. I've got my block here to help keep it against the fence. I'm not changing out my fence, and I have run this through the joiner to get a nice edge here. We'll probably have to run it through again, and I've got my fence all set up. Hell, let's just do it. I'm going to get a push stick though. Here we go, gonna go slow. Okay, if you take your time and you go slow and you have a sharp blade, you can get away with doing a little bit of resawing with a 3/8 blade like this. I like these blocks to help keep everything pushed against the fence. And if you noticed, I was using my belly to help push that piece through there. Just keep your hands out of the blade area as much as you can. Use push sticks. Safety third, y'all. So here is our book match piece. It just come out of the saw, and it will look a little like this, but remember it could also look a little like this, and you know what, I think that looks cooler to me for what we're doing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that I have a nice joined edge here so I can glue everything up, and we'll do that next. Alright, so I have a nice joined edge now, so the boards should glue together pretty nice. When you're running these through the joiner, I always like to run each side the same amount. So if I ran this one through twice, and I ran this one through twice, and it still wasn't done, I had to run it through a third time, I'd run this guy through a third time. Just to make sure that my grain is going to be, it's probably not going to matter that much because I'm only taking off a little tiny bit. But I just like to keep everything consistent. So that's a helpful, handy hint. The other thing is, even wood that doesn't have an insane amount of figure in it, I always like to go real slow when it's maple like this for a top, just to make sure that my joint is going to be nice and as invisible as possible. And that goes like double, triple for, you know, if you're using anything with flame or bird's eye or quilt or anything like that. Anything with lots of figure, go ahead and go slow. So I got my clamps all set up. Let's check it out. Actually, what we're going to do first, we're going to dry clamp everything. So what I like to do, you see this? Hold on, let me switch this around so you can actually see it. See how this piece here is quite a bit thicker than this piece? I must have had my saw fence set a little bit wonky, which is fine. But what we're going to do is we're going to test run this real quick to see, does everything look decent, and make sure we don't have any weird gaps or anything. And that is harder to do when you have a taller piece here. It actually makes a shadow. So when we glue this and when we test fit it, the trick that you can use is you can do this upside down so that the shadow piece is going to be on the part that gets cut away. Let's look at that. So yeah, my height difference is still a little bit, but I think it's going to be good. I like to test everything dry before we put glue on it. And yeah, that's going to seal up just fine. So now, we'll get a little bit of glue going, and we'll glue this bad dude together. And that will be cool. Alright, so it's not going to take a ton of adhesive to make this happen. Just going to put a little bit of tight bond right on the edge of this guy here. And voila. I like to smooth it out. You don't have to, but I like to. That way you know you got good coverage. I usually always put a little bit on the opposite piece too. Again, you don't have to, but it certainly doesn't hurt. So there we go. Yeah, and a lot of this, remember, because this piece here is a little bit thicker than the other, a lot of this you're not gonna use a lot of that glue, but hey man, doing the best we can with what we got. All right, so I got my pieces ready to glue, and I'm just gonna snug them down here. And they're gonna shift a little bit, so you just kind of gotta be patient. You can clamp the piece to the clamp if you want, or you can clamp the piece to itself even, which is sometimes a handy thing. I'm actually feeling under the glue joint to make sure we're as even as we can be. Okay, I got another clamp here that I'm going to put in the middle. I probably don't need to, but it's not like I'm clamping so many things that, you know, I need all the clamps I can get right this second. This is the only thing I'm doing for this video. Plus, it looks cool. All right. So if you do everything right, this is what your glue joint should look like. You can clean that up, but I always wait and get that with a scraper. All right, so we're all glued up. I don't have anything to do with this top for another couple days, so I'm just going to let it sit overnight and I'll come back out tomorrow morning. Okay. If you watched my video about how you're using glue and clamps incorrectly, probably, you might remember that in that video I said you don't need to let stuff sit for a week or 2 weeks or a month or really even overnight. And this is another one of those examples. Now, I do not have to do anything with this top anytime soon, so I'm going to let it sit overnight. It's about 5 o'clock now. I'm going to come out in the morning and it'll be just fine, be good to go. I'll pull the clamps and show you guys what I'm talking about there. If you needed to do something with this, you could probably, you know, depending on what temperature it is outside, you could probably pull the clamps off in an hour and scrape the glue back. On the directions it says you can pull the clamps off after an hour. You probably should wait 24 hours though, according to the directions, depending on what kind of glue you use. I use Titebond Original, not because any of the other glues aren't any good. It's just what I use, and it's what I'm going to continue to use. So anyway, it's always worked for me. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, and we'll have a look at it then. Okay, as far as y'all know, it's the next morning, and we're going to go ahead and pull our top out of the clamps and we're going to scrape off the excess glue. And if I'm feeling really daring, maybe I'll even include some thickness sander footage for the video, but let's get started with all the other stuff first. All right, so here it is, the top, and I don't know if you can see it, but well, let me go ahead and get the rest of these clamps off of here. You can tell, but the glue line is now hard, and we're going to go ahead and scrape that off, because if we run this through the thickness sander and let the sander take this glue off, it's going to make a gunked up spot on the belt. Well, actually on the, it's not really a belt on the Durham sander. It's just a sheet of stuff. As much as we can. Anyway, remember this side is going to be a little different because we had this this little lip here because yours truly probably didn't set the bandsaw up correctly. So we'll get some of that off too. All right, so now all that's left to do is get everything. We're gonna thin this down to just over 1/4 of an inch. This is going to go on a Challenger, and this is going to be for Brett. So, well, hell, I'm out here. The sander's right over there. It's covered up with junk, but I might as well go ahead and get started. So let's do that next. So when your pieces come off of the thickness sander and they are sanded to the right thickness, they look a little bit like this. So if you guys have any questions about how to do a book match top, please leave them in the comment section below. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, and if you appreciate content like this, you might want to go over and check out our Patreon page. Every dollar that you spend there goes toward your next purchase from anything here in the shop, and even $1 a month goes a long way to really helping us do the things that we do here. If you can't do it, we totally understand. What would be great though, in fact it'd be even better sometimes than giving us $1, would be to share this video wherever you possibly can, because we are not on anyone's algorithm or ad bot or whatever the millennials call it. What do they call it, Ian?
Algorithm? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, so go and share this video as many places as you can. So, this is Matt at Texas Toast reminding you that if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what I do. Thanks for watching, everybody.
I wanna play my guitar the only way